So you're going to start by taking 5 straws, evenly spacing them as well as you can around a pencil, and then just tie the straws just below the heads right to the pencil with a piece of thread. So then you're just going to very carefully bend down each straw so that it sticks out perpendicular to the pencil. So then you're just going to take one of the straws and pass it over the 2 next to it. Just bend it right over those 2. So then you take the second straw you just crossed over and cross over the next 2. And then take the second of the 2 you just crossed over and cross over the next 2. Take the second of the 2 you just crossed over and cross over the next 2. And so you'll just keep going around the pencil, taking the second one of the 2 that you crossed over and crossing it over the next 2, and you'll just keep going all the way around the pencil. And as you go, you'll find you get a little rhythm working. It becomes pretty quick to just spin them around the pencil. So once your spiral is about 5 inches long, you're just going to slip your pencil out, and then you're just going to keep folding the straws the same way you were with the pencil, except this time there's no pencil in the middle. So once you've got the pencil hole covered, just fold all the straws up, and then you'll just tie them off with a piece of white thread. So you want to make 4 of those spirals, and you want one to be just a little bit longer than the other 3. And so then your spirals will form a cross. So next take 9 straws and divide them so you have 6 on one side and 3 on the other. So now I've done a little bit of weaving here just to make it easier to demonstrate for the video, but what you're going to do right from the beginning is you're going to take the 4th straw on the right hand side, and you're just going to slide it under the outermost 3, lift up the remaining 2 on the right hand side, fold that straw under those 2, and lay it along the 3 on the left hand side. So lift up the inner 2 on the left hand side, take the outside straw, pass it over the second one and under the other 2 to lay on the right hand side. So going back to the right hand side, this time you'll take the 3rd straw, bend it to the right under the other 2, lift up the inner 2, and you'll just fold that one down over 3 and under 2 to lay on the left hand side. And so then lift up the inner 2, take the outside straw, fold it over the second and under those 2 to lay on the right hand side. Now this time you'll take the second straw, fold it to the right, lift up the inner 2, fold that straw down over the other 3, fold those 2 back down, and then over on the left hand side, lift up the inner 2, fold down the outside one, under those 2. And then one more time on the right hand side, this time you'll just fold that straw sideways, crease it with your thumbnail, and then once again, lift up the inner 2, fold the straw over the others and under the inner 2 to lay on the left hand side, and then of course pick up the inner 2 on the left hand side, fold the outside straw over and under those, and then you'll just start all over again. Starting with the 4th straw on the right hand side, you'll just keep progressing the same way you did before. And so what that does is it makes these little ridges along the weaving. So when your weaving is 12 to 15 inches long, you're just going to take each straw and fold it around the outside of the other ones. And then just tie them off with a piece of white thread. And so then you'll just cut off the excess thread and the excess stalks. So then while your weaving is still wet, you're just going to bend it into the shape of a circle, and you're just going to want to set a book or something heavy on it so that it dries in this shape. Now for the final plate, you're just going to take 4 straws with heads and tie them together just below the heads. So I'm just going to take those 4 straws and bend them down You'll end up with a little gap there, so what you're going to do is take the straw across from the gap and fold it right into the gap. Then you'll take the straw right next to it and fold it into the gap you just created. So then you'll take the straw next to that one and fold it in the gap you just created. And take the straw next to that one and fold it in the gap you just created. And take the straw to the right of that one. And then take the straw to the right of that one. And take the straw to the right of that one. Of course, if you spin this around while you're weaving, then you can keep your straws on the right so you know which one you're supposed to pull. I'm keeping it stationary, but if you spin it every time you fold one, then you'll always have the straw on the right is the one that you fold over. But basically, you just keep folding straws into the gaps that you're making. So you go until your weaving is about 5 inches long, and then you'll just tie it off with a little bit of white thread. Then just trim off the excess thread and stalks. And so while your weaving is still wet, you just want to take it and stretch it, and what that does is it changes the design of the weaving. So you want to stretch it all the way down the weaving. Once you've got it thoroughly stretched, you're just going to tie it in a knot and tie the two ends together with some white thread. So now take your circle and lay that on the ground. Lay the pieces of your cross right over that. And then lay your little knot right in the center. You're just going to hot glue all those together. And so then here is the finished Celtic cross.